Start small. I mean, a lot, I know that's not sexy. A lot of people are like, oh, wow, I want to run a marathon. You haven't run a block yet. How you going to run a marathon? You haven't run a block. Let's just set small goals, because each time you put even a small goal, you accomplish it and you follow through. It's a plus. It's a plus. It's a plus. It's a plus. Let's get small wins under you first. My name is Bakhtiar, and I'm a Fit CEO.
Welcome to another amazing episode. Today we have the opportunity to interview Sam Bakhtiar. He was gracious enough to invite us to his beautiful mansion in Chino Hills, California, where we get to sit down and talk about his experiences coming from Iran to the United States when it was a peak of war. He shares with us his personal experience as a Persian American going through the school system, and how personal adversity was actually the driving force that led him to create what is now known as a camp, which is a transformation center that's located at 110 plus locations internationally, and how that was also created with 1% nutrition. He shares with us his personal mindsets that allows him to get up every day and be a high performer, such as protect his time as if it is his children. And then also how his mindset is personally and built in a way that is indestructible. And he tells us his techniques and shares his secrets in this episode. So I'm excited to share with you his interview and our conversation. Now let's get on with the show. First of all, Sam, thank you so much for inviting us to your beautiful home here in Chino Hills, California. Not home, let me rephrase that, mansion, okay, with your nice toys, but most of all, it's just like your generosity. Right. And our mission today is just like really just share your story of where you came from, where you are now, but most important of all, like where you're going, right? And for many of the listeners that might already know Sam, just to catch him up, you have the camp, which is at 110 plus locations from last time I've heard. And then we'll talk more about like your goals, because I know that you want to hit 500 before you retire.
Correct.
Right? And the other thing is about like your company, 1% nutrition, your beautiful home, your family. Congratulations on your newborn.
Thank you.
And your two beautiful daughters. So everything is going amazing. Everything is great. And everybody sees you as a superhero that you are.
Wow, okay. I didn't know all that, but okay.
Absolutely. I'm just saying the truth.
I appreciate
saying
that.
The truth.
I appreciate it.
But the thing is that it wasn't always like this. At the very beginning, where you came from was, and correct me if I'm wrong too, you came from Iran?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And from the age 3 to 11, you lived there, and there was a lot going on. So if you could go ahead and just take us back of how it was living out there, and just like your experience through.
Man, yeah. So I was born in Tehran, Iran, and I remember my parents split when I was like 3 years old. And my dad went to Canada. That was the last time I saw him when I was 3. And when he left, we started war with Iraq, and. In the United States, when you're in war, you don't know you're in a war. Because, a lot of times, I don't watch the news. And when people are like, yeah, we're at war. I'm like, we are? Because I don't hear the machine guns. I don't hear sirens. I don't see anything. When in Iran, when you were at war, you knew it. There were people attacking, And from age 3 to age 11, we literally were like getting bombed on pretty much on a nightly basis by Saddam Hussein. And it was like a lottery. We didn't know where the bomb was going to fall. They were just throwing bombs. And a lot of just innocent, civilians were being killed. So that was the beginning. That was the beginning, of living in Iran, and that's my memories of that.
Did you experience anything where it was like memorable, something crazy happened, and you came close to that, or luckily you didn't see any of that?
I didn't see any of that.
Okay.
I didn't see that. You see on the news, the bomb landed on a house, and these kids were like, dead, and these moms were dead. You see all that kind of stuff. I didn't see physically myself.
Oh, great. No, I'm happy that nothing happened.
Yeah, thank God,
you didn't see anything.
Yeah.
That would have been like traumatic. But,
for real.
And then at the age of 11, that is when your mom had decided to like come to America, come to Sheraton, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, we first went to France because you can't come straight to America with it because all the diplomatic relation of the U.S. and Iran has never been good, especially after the hostage situation in 1978 or 79 it was. So we went to France as refugees of war. And then from France, we came to America as refugees of war in 1985.
What do you remember from that? And the reason why I think this is important is because, maybe a lot of like the listeners, but including myself, my parents came from Mexico and, they came from a tough situation and they came here to like, create a better life for themselves. Mm-hmm. And I think that sometimes, when people or even the children are living and they're in a great place, we forget where we came from and 100%. Also the amount of effort and sweat and pain that you had to go through. So for example, now that you have like your kids are growing up and your newborn, when he sees this, like what would be a way to describe to him like how that was for you from the time you left, from the time you got here, and how that was for you?
To my kid?
Yeah.
Well, you always want to let your kids know where you come from, what it took to be here. I'm a firm believer that with the kids, you give them enough to be able to do it on their own, but not so much that you kind of, mess them up for life. You know what I mean? And it's really tough because, they didn't go through what I have to go through. My kids are used to this. That's their normal life. They're not used to, living in the projects. They're not used to being evicted. They're not used to going from home to home. They're not used to being discriminated and called all kinds of names, and they're not used to getting bullied and beat up. You know what I mean? Like I was. So with the kids, you want to show them what is possible, but you also want to show them, what it took to be here.
That's awesome, and that's amazing because like one of the things that I like to do is in my gratitude practice is I'm always grateful for my parents making that journey from where they were in Mexico to here, came illegally, and I mean now they fixed up the paperwork, but a lot of us, we forget that, and you're actually have first-hand experience into that. Now, from I know that like from the age of 11 and 16, you went through a lot, right? Like which I think was fascinating when I was like listening and really just learning more about like the story of Sam is the power of desire, right? And I want to talk about the Volkswagen GTI and how you came about putting in tough work.
Well, Volkswagen GTI was the upgrade. Yeah. My first car was the hand down. I actually, on my desk, I'll show you a picture of it. My first car was a 77 Volkswagen Rabbit diesel with 52 horsepower, and in Pennsylvania winters, when you turn that thing on, the diesel smoke. It smoked for like 30 minutes before it even stabilized. And so that was the car I had. I remember the passenger side door didn't open. And I went on a date, the first time, and I went to open up the door, the passenger side door, and the driver's side door didn't work. I went to open up the passenger side door, and the girl was like, "Oh, you're such a gentleman." I said, "I am, but I actually have to get in first." You know what I mean? And it could be because the driver's side door didn't work, and so my goal in life at that time was to be able to afford $200 a month, because that was like a Volkswagen GTI payment. 1983 Volkswagen GTI is what I wanted. And so I saved up, and I had all kinds of odd jobs. I worked at McDonald's, I delivered pizza, I worked at car washes in the winter, I worked at cheese factory. I did whatever I could because that's one the goal I had. I wanted to buy a Volkswagen Rabbit GTI, and I did that.
Now the reason why I point this out is because nowadays there's like this perception that like wanting things are bad, or having desires, or wanting like expensive houses and cars, when I believe the reality is that it's actually a good thing, because it actually turns on your engine to do good works to get what you want.
Since why is it bad to have an ambition?
Yeah.
I mean, why is it bad for an ambition? If you want a nice car, why not? Why you're supposed to be average? You want to just drive a piece of shit?
Yeah.
Everybody else is happy. I don't believe in that. In this society these days, people put down people who want to be super achievers. Oh no, don't do that. That's too much. Don't do that. No, why would you want material things? No, why not? Why not? God didn't put you on this earth just to be, just not to do anything, not to strive for. I mean, the reason we have the plane is because we strive for it. The reason we put a man on the moon is because we strive for it. The reason everything was invented because we're striving for more. So if you're not striving for more, you're not human. I don't understand what's going on these days. Even when there's places like Planet Fitness. You know what I mean? Oh, so you're a lunk if you wear a tank top and you work out and you grunt. Heaven forbid. We're in the gym supposed to eat Tootsie Rolls and eat pizza and get on a treadmill. What the fuck is going on in this world, man? So when you're telling me that, you just hit it like a sore subject with me. I want my kids to be superachievers. I want them to want more. Why not? I rather them to hit for the moon and come up short than just hit here and hit it, right?
Absolutely, and then especially when you're in the business of actually helping people and transforming their lives, transforming their bodies, transforming their that becomes a ripple effect to everything in their lives, their household. So that means that the greater things that you want in your life, that means that you have to put in more work, help more people. So it only makes sense for you to get a dividends and get rewarded for that.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely, and it's not about it's not about just money. It's about achievement. It's not about the money. It's about achievement. Hey, ever since I was a little kid, it was in my DNA. I love cars. I like sports and weightlifting. And I like girls. It's in my DNA. I can't help it. So if I want to buy a Ferrari, I was playing with Ferraris like when I was a little kid, with little toy cars. So now I got older. I afford to give a Ferrari. Is that something wrong with it? Why am I getting judged? And a lot of people, oh, look at him. He's probably compensating. Oh, he's a douchebag. He drives a Ferrari. Oh, why is he doing it? Who cares? At the end of the day, the only person I'm trying to impress is the man upstairs and myself.
I love that. I always tell myself, do it to impress yourself.
That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, I could care less if anybody likes me. At the end of the day, at the end of the night, when I go to bed, I put my head on the pillow and I can sleep well. That's all that matters.
One of my mentors once said, high performers, they fly alone, just like eagles, they fly alone.
Yeah.
So I love that. One of the things that I do remember you saying that the environment of Sheraton, Pennsylvania taught you that you wanted to be different. So why did you say that?
Man, Sheraton, Pennsylvania is, a suburb of Pittsburgh. When I went there in 1985, all the steel mills were shutting down. That was a big industry there. China took over all the steel mill industry, and everybody was laid off as a middle of crack cocaine epidemic. And I come and I'm thinking about, when I'm coming to America, I'm thinking about, I'm going to go to Beverly Hills because that's what I saw on TV. I come to Sheraton, Pennsylvania, where my uncle has a store in the middle of the worst street ever. There's pimps, prostitutes, and drug dealers outside. The street is not even paved, and the mentality there was just so backwards. To this day, if you make $20 an hour, you fucking made it. You fucking made it. I went to my class reunion. Somebody the other day, I heard, oh, so-and-so is making $20 an hour. He's doing good. I'm like, God, that's that good? That's the kind of mentality that they have over there. And I didn't want that. You know what I mean? And I didn't want that for myself. Ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to be excellent. I want to excel in things. I want to be excel in life, no matter what it was. Every time I play sports, people are like, oh, it's okay to lose. It's okay now these days. Everybody gets a trophy. You participate, you get a trophy. What the fuck is that, man? Every time I lost, I fucking ran and cried. I went back and I'm like, I don't want to lose again. Whether it was my grandma beating me in cards, or whether I lost in soccer or basketball, I'm not here to lose. I might lose. I'm not saying I'm undefeated, but if I lose, I'm gonna figure out a way to come back and win.
I love that. It really shows a real life demonstration of what environment really does for you and how powerful it really is.
Absolutely.
And just because we're in the just talking about the fitness industry. I was making this example to somebody, or I was thinking about it. Right, it's the same way as a bodybuilder all of a sudden going from Gold's Gym and then moving on to Choose Gym, right? The new normal just shifts, and vice versa. Your environment just creates you. You go from a little gym, 24-hour fitness, all the way to Gold's Gym, where bodybuilders are building muscle, and your new normal just shifts all over again, and your environment just creates who you are.
Absolutely. You are going to be a product of your environment. You know what I mean? You are going to be it's so hard to do the right thing in the wrong environment.
I love that. Just talking about the environment, right? And how a lot of this like made who you are, right? Like maybe actually added some additional drives into you. Can you share with us like the time when you and your mom were driving in the middle of Oklahoma at 10 p.m.
Yeah.
and then her car just completely just stopped?
Yeah. I remember it was the Volkswagen Rapid Diesel, and we went, and all of a sudden, it just shut down in the middle of a gas station, 10 o'clock, and I didn't know. I remember seeing my mom, and she looked so defeated. She was tired. She was driving for a while, and there was no mechanics open. The gas station, people that own it, they were gracious enough to say, "Hey, just stay overnight until the mechanic, opens up tomorrow." And I just see my mom so embarrassed, And I told my mom, I looked at her, I said, "Mom, one day I'm going to buy you a Mercedes." And it's crazy, that one day came. And I don't know if she remembered or not, but I always remember what I said. And a few years ago for Christmas, I put a bow on the Mercedes and I delivered it to her. I said, "Mom, remember I told you? I didn't even know how I was going to do it. I didn't know what was possible. I just said something and it came true."
Was there like times when things like got hard, like maybe like waking up early or just doing something you didn't want to do and you just thought about that moment and that just like completely just...
For me, I'm used to, my normal is hard. I'm used to that. To me, it's nothing that I'm not used to. I'm used to when I leave the house. I have this imaginary shield that I put on to go out there and fight for my family. And when I pull in the driveway, I take that imaginary shield off, and I come inside and want to be with the family. So for me, it's never been hard. It's for me, it's just I do whatever I have to do. Somebody asks me all the time, she goes, "What do you do?" Whatever it takes. That's what I do. So it's never been an option for me to think about giving up or saying this hard. I'm not that guy. It's never been, never will be. I might have an off day. And the worst I would do in an off day is, have a cheat meal and go to bed early. Call it a day. I take an L. Not too many of those happen. Maybe two or three times, a year. Take an L for the day. Regroup. I'm back at it.
That's awesome, man. It's awesome that you create like this new normal where hard is your normal, and if it's not hard, and I've heard you say this, you actually start stressing out if it's not difficult or challenging enough.
For me, being comfortable has become uncomfortable, if that makes sense. For me, if I get up one day and I'm just relaxing and there's nothing, I'm not really doing nothing, there's no drama, there's nothing I have to fix, I'm like, this sucks. What do you mean? I got to figure out something to do. I got to figure out something. So for me, that has become, my life's work. I've learned to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
I love that.
And I'm uncomfortable being comfortable.
As just to like take a couple steps back, like the involvement of like you, right, and how you grew up. These were actually some things that I was like curious about. And from the time your parents separated at the age of 3, you said that your dad left to Canada. What was that relationship between you and your dad, if any, growing up?
We didn't have any relationship, man. I remember for the first year or so, he called once in a while, but after that, we had no relationship. Never saw him. And unfortunately, when he passed away, there's a Tupac song, that says that he couldn't cry because his anger couldn't have, he couldn't have tears for a stranger. And that was me. Yeah. And that was exactly when he said that verse, I'm like, your dad died. I'm like, oh, I'm sad, but I can't cry. You know what I mean? And that's why, to me, I'm not, I never sat down and said, oh, because of this, because of that. I use that to my advantage. Everything that's happened to me in life, I figured out a way to have it boost me. Not put me down. Not, oh my God, I'm poor, look at me, I didn't have a dad. Oh, look at me, this happened to me. Oh, look at this that happened to me. Everything that's happened to me, a better thing, a better blessing has come out of it. And every single one. I can't name of one thing, that was disastrous, which I had many, that was disastrous, and it was disastrous the rest of the time. It was disastrous for the moment, and now it became so much better. And now when life, hits me and punches me in the mouth. I mean, remember, you ever see somebody, boxing somebody in MMA, and the opponent just punches the guy. I mean, gets him a clean shot, and the guy looks at him, laughs. Is that a good one? Good one?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well, that's me now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's me now, because I've got punched so much in life. I've been knocked down so much in life. And for the first 1,000 times, I guess, you're like, gosh, why me? Why me? Why me? But when you see that God really has a bigger plan for you, every time I said, why me, it was a better thing that I didn't know. God was pushing me in a place that was better for me, even though I didn't know it. And now I'm like, oh, God has a better plan for me. I'm laughing, acknowledging, and say, I got you. Good. Let's do this.
I love that you said that, because it just like make this, it reinforces this ideology of like the high performers, everybody that I've talked to that is at the level that you're at right now, and that is looking for the opportunity inside of adversity. And a great example of this has to do with how the camp came about. Mm-hmm. It came from adversity itself. So can you share with us like how the birth of the camp really came about?
Yeah, so the birth of the camp was, I started my personal training business in the year 2000, right after I graduated. And I was crushing it. You know what I mean? I was crushing it by that standard. I was making like 15, 20 grand a month. And I thought I was P. Diddy, so I was crushing it. For, a 26, 27-year-old at the time, those times was pretty good. But then nobody, I didn't know anything about ups and downs in the economy. I didn't know that whatever goes up must come down. I bought a home for $260. 2 years, 3 years later, it was sold for $600. I'm like, I'm an investor. I mean, I'm the man, right? And so I want to buy another home that shit went from $800 to $400 when the recession hit. So when the recession hit, things didn't slow down for me. It's like somebody put an emergency brake on. All of a sudden, everybody was canceling. Nobody could afford personal training. And one of my clients that came to Fitness Concepts before, my personal trainer, came and hit me up with the idea of opening up a group training class. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I wasn't even open to it. I'm like, group training classes, now one of those aerobic classes, people with leotard jumping up and down.
Yeah, like some Pilates.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, that shit's not going to work. And she's like, well, let's do it. So I gave her a bunch of tasks, hoping to get rid of it. She did it. I had $11,000 in my bank account. Mm-hmm. That's all I had. I gave her 9. And she went and started blowing it up. And next thing you know, I see the revenue of the camp surpassing the revenue of my personal training gym. I'm like, maybe I should pay you some attention. And the rest was history. So the camp was born out of desperation in recession to be able to lower the cost of personal training and be able to give the same service and even better results for our clients, which I didn't even know was possible because I thought it was one-on-one training. One-on-one training actually sucks because most of the time one-on-one training becomes a therapy session. What the trainer is talking to the client is talking to the client. All they're doing is yap, 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 yap. Nothing gets done, especially if you get to know the client for a while. But in group training, you don't have that. Mm-hmm. Plus, now we know studies show that high-intensity interval training increases based on metabolic rate a lot further than just traditional weightlifting.
That's amazing. And then from there, like you created like this whole philosophy of the 1%er. So what does it mean to be a 1%er?
1%er means that going against the grain. Mm-hmm. The great Warren Buffett said this: if you want to be successful, look at what the masses do and do the opposite. Yeah. Right? I mean, if you look at what the masses do, what do the masses do? They can't delay gratification. They procrastinate. They don't take action. And they don't have any plans, any goals. They just go through life, like a little hamster, mm-hmm. Right? 1% doesn't care about being popular. They make their own path. They learn to delay gratification. They stay consistent, and they do things that the 99% of people don't want to do so they can have the life that they want one day.
Man, that's inspiring. I want to be a 1%. But
you are a 1%.
I am a 1%er, you're right. That actually like really sets the path to like how you came about, because I know that you went to school. You're a doctor, for the people that don't know this, but you went ahead and got your doctor because your mom said either a doctor or not. Yeah, It was either or the other. And then on top of that, you were building your business, and you were you got used to like this very, very tough schedule, right? And one of the things that I admire you about is like how strict you are about your schedule and routine and ritual, and what you do with like the first and last 45 minutes of your day. So I'm actually interested to hear, what is it that you do as a one percenter in the first 30 minutes of your day, like as soon as you wake up, and the last 30 minutes of your day before you go to sleep?
Yeah. Well, to me, one of the most precious assets, not one of the most precious assets, the most precious asset you have in life is time, right? And so if you believe that, and you truly believe that that's most precious, more precious than money, more precious than anything, then why would you want to waste it? Right? I see people just going through life, just wasting time, and I see inefficiencies in their schedule. To me, my goal is this. My goal is to go out and get shit done so I can come home and spend quality time with the family. But if I'm not getting shit done, I can't come spend quality time with the family. So it's very important for me to schedule everything. Very important for me to, follow a routine and be very, very methodical about it, very, very militant about it. And to a degree that most people don't understand. And look, I'll talk to anyone, but it has to be on my time, on my schedule. If I'm at work and everybody just walks into my office, I'm not going to get anything done. If I don't get anything done, nobody eats. So for their sake, my sake, and everyone's sake, we have to respect each other's time, and it's not like being, snobbish or anything like that. It's I have a goal and have things to do, and people will depend on me to get shit done. And I need to get that shit done so I can be with the family.
I love that, because it reminds me of the time when you said you got to protect your time like you're about to protect your children.
Wow, you studied me very well.
I watched a couple of your things.
Yeah.
So I very much appreciate that, because you're right. Like, time is the most valuable asset that we have. Because 100%. Money, you can lose this car. And I have. I remember in the recession, I bought my first Ferrari, and it was a 2008 F430 Spider. And there was a time that I'm like, oh man, I didn't lose it, but I sold it right before I was about to lose it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, I've been there. I'm sitting here in front of you very humbly. I have nothing to fucking hide. I've been to the bottom. I've been to the top. I lost it. Now I'm back at the top. And if I lose it again, I gain it back again. In fact, I'm a lot more careful now. I'm a lot careful what I've done. First thing, I said, what I like about this house the most? It's paid for. There you go.
So I don't care what happens. I don't care what Donald Trump does. I don't care what this guy does, what that guy does. Nobody's going to ever come to me a eviction notice or say, hey, you got to get out of your house. You know what I mean? It's mine.
But that's like one of the things that I appreciate you about is that you work really, really hard, and you don't apologize to anybody, maybe except your wife, right? But
that all the time.
But the thing is that you get like a lot of people saying like, well, Sam, can't you just have like a more flexible schedule? But one thing that I love that you said is people are just not hard enough on themselves. So can you explain a little bit more of like that you should be harder on yourself?
Look, if when it comes to spending time, as much as I like you and everybody in here, and as much as you like me, if it comes down between you and my family to spend time with, you will lose every time, and I will lose every time. That's the way it has to be. So if somebody's wasting my time or they are making me inefficient, they technically are stealing my time from my children and my family. And I don't like that. You know what I mean? And vice versa for them. But they don't see it that way. Everybody thinks that they're immortal. Everybody thinks that they have all this time in the world. I'm not interested in being one of those guys that are busy, but didn't get shit done. I want to go in, I want to be effective, and I want to get out.
Love that, man. Yeah, like you're definitely about, like, I remember watching one of your videos and you were kind of like going through your home, and the place that actually fascinated me the most was actually your office. And the which we'll actually get a quick tour on that area. And the one thing is because you have your schedule printed in advance, and I think you have like a week's worth scheduled in advance. And then on top of that, you have your goals in front of you, which is a $10 million check that you're waiting to cash, right?
100%. You know, and my schedule gets printed the night before. You know, because the night before, as I said, before I go to bed, I print out my schedule. I look at it from bird's eye view, anything sticking out, anything that I need to be aware of, especially just straight for time management purposes. You know, so I have that. I have my, you know, my 2019 goals. I have my life goals. And that's what I want to accomplish that week. So I'm looking at that at a bird's eye view. In the morning when I get up, I come down, I read my goals, and I listen to them because I recorded them.
What do you mean by recording them?
I record on my phone. I say it out loud on my phone what my goals are. You know what I mean? And so while I'm reading them, I'm listening to them at the same time. So those are like my normal, routine when I get up in the morning.
I like that a lot. I'm curious, how did you get that ideal of actually recording them and then listening to them and then reading them?
Because I believe that when you do it with different sensory mechanisms, it works a lot better. You know, so it reinforces it. That's what I used to do in college. You know, when I was studying for a test, I actually read the chapter, and I also actually recorded me reading the chapter, and I was listening to it when I was going to to classes. I was going to taking the test. I was listening to it.
Well, having that said, man, like the other thing that I'm like really like obsessed about is like, just going back into like routine, right? How does your last 30 to 45 minutes of your day look like? So I know that you said that you revise your goals. Is there anything else that you do on top of that?
No, I print out my schedule for the day.
Okay.
For the next day. I go out there, set out my clothes. Last thing I'm gonna do, I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and look for workout clothes, right? What am I gonna wear? What's gonna happen? You know what I mean? No, I'm just gonna set it out like the night before. I got my pre-workout right there set up. I got my Gatorade Zero right next to my pre-workout. I have a system. You know, for me, it's all about efficiency. It's all about getting stuff done fast, efficient, and getting out of there. You know, I love being efficient. And when I see someone is inefficient, I just shake my head. It's like, man, that shouldn't take an hour. That should take like 6 minutes. You know, and I see someone just wasted an extra 54 minutes on something that should have really been done 6 minutes. That drives me crazy.
And talking about like efficiency, I know that one of the things that you're a big advocate about is delegating work or finding a way to actually make it faster, quicker. And that's the reason you have 2 washers, 2 dryers to be more efficient, be quick about it, not waste any time, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't understand. Like, people get like 4 TVs and, they have all these things, but they have 1 washer and 1 dryer. That doesn't even make sense because you can't wash the whites and the blacks together, right? Just from what I understand, right? You're not supposed to wash them. So why, so you have to wash the whites, then put that on there, but then you have to wash the blacks, then put that on there. Why just wash them both and put them in different ones? I mean, common sense. Yeah. Now you're doing things twice as fast. Whether it's you doing it or whether it's your mate is doing it, doesn't matter because now your mate can do other stuff. Can go organize the chores.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, time efficiency, you're the man. I mean, I've looked at your stuff and I love like the way you're very precise about timing, and that's why I was telling the team, I'm like, hey, we gotta get there on time.
And I appreciate that. I was trying to fix this air conditioning problem here, but so we're sitting in this sauna right now. I appreciate you put up.
No, it's all good. It's the sauna interview, which I'm able to like lose a couple pounds as by the time we're done with this interview, we're good. But talking about setting up the schedule, it first starts off with the word. And one of the things that I've heard you talk about is, building confidence and building self-esteem has a lot to do with keeping your word.
Yeah.
So when did that become a realization for you where you're like, if I say something, I must do it. If not, there's a consequence.
Unfortunately, it was a bad experience. So I was getting ready for... so was it like 1994, 95 Mr. Pittsburgh Championship. And, I was going to school. I had 20 units. I was working part-time as a personal trainer. On the weekends, I was working as a bouncer. And I was a bodybuilder, so I was meal prepping and I was, doing my own grocery shopping and all that kind of stuff. So I was fucking busy, right? But then one night, man, I was stressed out. I got up in the middle of the night and I just went on a binge 2 weeks before the show. I went and got some burritos. I went some ice cream, some pizza, you name it. I literally just went on a binge. I was starving. I was stressed out. And next thing you know, I woke up in the morning, literally had like pizza and peanut butter on my head, and I started just crying. I was in college crying, and I told myself, Sam, you're not cut out to be a bodybuilder. If you can't even stick to your diet, you're not disciplined enough to stick to your diet, then you might as well just quit. You're 2 weeks out before the show, you effed it up, just quit. So I did. I quit. So all that hard work that I put on, I didn't follow through. I told all my friends and everybody, I'm not going to follow through. I quit. Bad. So for 2 weeks, I was depressed. I ate nothing but junk for 2 weeks. Yeah. And I went to Mr. Pittsburgh as a spectator. And when I went as a spectator, even after 2 weeks of junk, if all I just did was just got pro-tanned up and got on stage, I would have won. And that taught me a very, very harsh lesson. That if you say you're going to do something, follow through. Because that was like the biggest shock to my self-esteem. Because I didn't follow through to my word. So after that, I was like, if I'm going to say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. I'm going to follow through. And that was the basis.
For the listeners and the viewers that are like watching this and they want to like begin to build like these habits of, keeping their word and things like that. One, how would you suggest for them to start?
Start small.
Start small.
Start small. I mean, a lot, I know that's not sexy. A lot of people are like, oh, well, I want to run a marathon. You haven't run a block yet. How are you going to run a marathon? You haven't run a block. Let's just set small goals, because each time you put even a small goal, you accomplish it and you follow through. It's a plus. It's a plus. It's a plus. It's a plus. Let's get small wins under you first. And then we go for the bigger things. But don't go for the big things right away. Because that's what everybody does when it comes to, like I said, New Year's. When it comes to New Year's resolution. I want to lose 100 pounds by February. Yeah. They come in 2 weeks, drive themselves crazy, and then they quit because it's an unrealistic expectation and unrealistic goals.
Yeah, I love that. Like when I first ran my first marathon, I started with like 1 lap, then 2 laps, 3 laps. And eventually where I was able to run 5 miles nonstop on the weekends, 15 miles, and then eventually the full marathon, and just starting small. Consistency was really the key. So when it comes to the consequence of it, because I think what most people know, kind of like what happens, right? Kind of like when you eat a burger a day, what's going to happen? You're going to gain weight. But let's talk about like the consequence. Like if you don't follow through with your word, what are you doing to yourself?
You basically tell yourself that you're somebody who doesn't follow through. You're a loser, and that's a big shock to your self-esteem. It's a big shock. Have you ever seen those people? I'm just not good at this. I'm just not made that way. No, it's not you made this way. You just quit. Because you tried and you tried and you tried. You never really followed through. And now your self-esteem is shot. You don't believe you can do it. And you don't want to be in that position. You can accomplish anything with the right strategy, with the right mindset.
Yeah. I remember like that's happened to me in the past, like just being very careful with my words, being very intentional, because if I say I'm going to do something, I better keep it, or I somehow better like reschedule it or break away from that.
There's a book called What to Say to Yourself When You Talk to Yourself. Profound book. Chad Hamster, PhD. God, it's profound. I think everybody should read it. And that was one of the books that I've read and that has helped me tremendous in life. So last night, we had an event. I didn't get home to bed till like 11:30. So got up at 3. So, and everybody, my business partner, everybody messaged me, like, you went to the gym? Even though like I probably, wasn't as strong as I wanted to be, but it's not even about strength. It's about mental fortitude. It's about saying I'm going to do something and following through. And if you can do that, you can then transfer that same discipline to everything else in business, in relationships, and anything that you want. If you can't count on your own word, who can count on you? No one.
Yeah, I love that. It's like it becomes a habit, right? Like just as soon as you say, I'll do it tomorrow, it's easy for you to say, I'll do it tomorrow. For like maybe like the viewers and listeners, years back ago when I was in college, actually before then, by the age of 12, I used to be a heavy drinker. Like I would just be around the wrong environment. And I hit a point where I hit rock bottom, 3 DUIs, facing jail time, doubled up on
3 DUIs?
3 DUIs,
Holy
man. Yeah.
Shit.
So if anyone has more than that, send me a message. But I had to stop there.
That's pretty. Yeah.
That's pretty nuts. I had to stop there because my lawyers literally just said, Jose, if you don't stop, like you're one more. You're that's a felony. You're doing jail time. So it was continue drinking or go to jail. Just because like my habits weren't gonna break, and it all just began by saying no one day at a time. No, one day at a time. And 1 year, after 1 year, I had like the ultimate like test. My cousin invited me to Vegas. By then I had already disconnected from all of my old friends, didn't go to any of my old stomping grounds. But I realized like the power of just being consistent with saying either like, no, I'm not gonna do this anymore, something that was very destructive. I thought about it, I'm like, wow, I could use this for the good. As long as I reinforce something that I want for my life, I could actually reverse engineer it and start doing that. So even though that was a adversity piece for me, very stressful time of my life, it actually was a gift because it taught me to deal through tough situations and use that to actually build good habits and build powerful things.
Of course, it was the biggest gift.
Yeah.
It was the biggest gift. You know, those are learning lessons, hard learning lessons, but nevertheless, a great learning lesson.
Yeah, and I'm always grateful now for things like that, right? Now I could actually say more of, thank God I got pulled over 3 times, right? Because I could have either killed somebody or killed myself. Yeah. So it's actually a gift.
Yeah.
Now talking about like high performance, I know that you said that like if you're not in a tough situation, if it's not challenging enough, then it's uncomfortable for you, right?
It's boring.
Right. So as a high performer that you are, what do you do now to stay uncomfortable?
I put myself in uncomfortable situations. I stretch myself. I do things that are uncomfortable. I put myself around people that are on a much bigger scale, playing at a much bigger scale. And that puts me in an uncomfortable situation because I'm like, man, I want to catch them. Not that I'm competing with them directly, but it gives me a new benchmark. You know what I mean? Yeah. And people like Ed Milet and Andy Frisella, I mean, they're my boys. But they're playing at a whole different stratosphere. And when I look at them, I'm like, I love you, man, but I want to beat you. Yeah. You know what I mean? And, so it gives me that, it puts me in that uncomfortable position, man. If you want to, grow, you want to be that small fish in a big pond. And I always am, I don't want to be the big fish. If I'm the big fish in the big pond, guess what? I'm going to find a different pond.
I love that. Yeah. Well, one of the things that I do to like stay uncomfortable is put myself again like in strange, weird situations. And one of the most recent ones has been like I've been enrolled in improv, where I just go up there and
do a stand-up comedy
and do anything that they tell me to do, and I gotta be that character. It's very uncomfortable, but it's becoming my new normal, which I very much appreciate. Now talking about like putting yourself in uncomfortable situations. One of the things that I really thought was awesome was your goals, right? Like not only do you write your goals, now I know that you listen to them. I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to do that tonight.
Oh, it'll change your life. Yeah. It'll change your life. The same exact way you wrote them, read them exactly, read them exactly to your recorder. Yeah.
I always had like this thing that I for some reason I had an idea of like, no one knows you better than yourself. So if you're the one telling yourself, hey man, these are your goals and this is what you're gonna do, and even slip in, hey, when things get a little weird, make sure this is you're a high performer and so on. But not only do you have a list of your goals, but you also have a separate list next to it. Can you share with us that separate list and let me know if you need a reminder on that?
Oh, of gratitude and haters? Is that what I'm talking about?
Well, I didn't know you had a gratitude one, but yeah, like the haters, the people that you want to crush.
I've got rid of that.
Okay.
I've got rid of that, but yeah, what I used to do is have a list of gratitude, the people that I love and people that it gives me gratitude. But I also had a list of haters, people who doubted me, people who want to see me fail. You know what I mean? And, you know, that used to drive me. But now that I look back, you know, it doesn't drive me anymore. Because I'm at a level that I really couldn't give a fuck less what they think of me, what they wish on me. I'm going to do what I have to do. I don't even need that. You know, at some point, you get to a level, you stop giving a fuck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've recently reached that.
I like that.
I recently reached at a level that I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? What you think about me, what you say about me, what you wish about me, you know, I don't give a fuck. It's called, I'm fresh out of fucks.
Yeah.
I couldn't say a year ago or 2 years ago wasn't that.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, I show him, I show her, I show him. Well, I did already.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, I'm not going to now kick somebody when they're on the ground. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I like that because it kind of like shows that it's a form of fuel, right? Just like either anger is not really encouraged, but it is a form of fuel. Love is not a form of fuel, right?
I mean, look, man, and one of my favorite books is by my friend Tim Grover.
Yeah.
You know, and he talks about using your dark side to catapult you. Because everybody is always like, oh, man, you know, he has a complex or he has some issues. Who doesn't have fucking issues? Yeah. I mean, I have issues, you have issues, she has issues. You know, everybody has issues. If you don't have issues, then you're fucked up more than everybody else.
Yeah.
You know, we need issues, but how you deal with your issues is different. Or you become a victim to your issues and make excuses and procrastinate. Because my dad left me, I can't work and I can't think. I have daddy issues. I got my daddy issues, you know, and to help me catapult me to who I am, to a super dad that I am, to a super provider that I am, to the super businessman that I am. You know, so that's the dark side, and you got to be able to use that. I think that's huge fuel. It's not everything's not kumbaya, everything's good, namaste. Let's go change the world. Yeah. That shit don't work for me.
I like that. It kind of sounds like Batman. Got to use the dark side.
Yeah.
No, I like that, and I appreciate that because I mean, the same point, that period where I finally had like my last draw. Getting 3 DUIs, right? It almost felt like everybody was after me, and I used that anger to go and get my master's. Yeah. And it got me there. And if it wasn't for that, maybe I wouldn't have gotten my master's. But I used it as fuel, like I'm gonna prove everybody that I'm not a loser, right? And it got to the point where it's not effective anymore. And the next form of fuel for me is gratitude and just love and appreciation and just, you know, having everything around me and just appreciate it even more, even the weird, annoying things, appreciate those. You know, and then just to like wrap up this interview, if we could go into like a time machine and we were to go back when you are 17 and you see yourself there, what would there be any like advice, tips, insights that you will give yourself?
The biggest advice, you know, that I will give to my old 17-year-old is change your association, change your proximity. You know, I was a knucklehead, man, you know, growing up in Sharon, Pennsylvania. I always wanted to be, you know, the good life, but I was hanging around with losers. I was, you know, you talk about, you know, DUI, I didn't get a DUI, but I got underage drinking like 6 times. Yeah. You know what I mean? You know, my license was suspended because of that for a while. You know, I got in, you know, fist fights and trouble when I was on that. And those are the times that I was able to, I should be able to use to my advantage, you know, read personal development books, surround myself with other millionaires and other people who are that. And that's what I love about my crew. You know, these are some young, hungry guys like Isaac and Louis and Justin and, you know, and Arturo. And these guys are just, you know, I'm like, man, if I had me when I was 17, I would be a billionaire. Yeah. I want to be a millionaire. You know what I mean? So, you know, I tell them this is yours to lose. I did not have this mentality that you guys have right now at this young of age. So this is for you to lose. You know what I mean? And it's really for them to lose.
Yeah, I love that, man. I appreciate that. That's really great insight. And I think you're absolutely right that proximity, your environment really just creates a product of who you are. So just want to go ahead and thank you for allowing us to come in and you know, dropping this amount of knowledge, insights, for the people that are out there creating their business, their empires. And thank you so much for allowing us to check out your garage here in Sam's Garage.
Thank you. Let's just set small goals, because each time you put even a small goal, you accomplish it, and you follow through. It's a plus. It's a plus. It's a plus. It's a plus. Let's get small wins under you first.
Here's the deal. If you could direct that obsession towards the positive, all that DNA you got blood running through you that you think is negative is the thing that makes me successful.